It is Wallet Wednesday and millions of people across the UK are missing out on a share of £19 billion in unclaimed benefits, according to the think tank Policy in Practice. It comes as there are a few important deadlines approaching, and Martin has reminders for you. So let's start. The first deadline reminder, Martin, is on student finance.
Yeah, so this is students living in England who are going to go to university for the first time this September. You need to apply now in order to get your living loan to be guaranteed to be paid on time. The deadline for that is Friday. After that date, it may still be paid on time, but it is no longer guaranteed to be paid on time. So you need to get those forms in by the end of this working week. And I know there are many people out there who are unaware of that deadline. So if you're a student or a parent starting university this September, put your financial application in by the end of this week, and then you're guaranteed to get the payment when you need it to be on time.
And the living loan covers what?
I mean, this is thousands of pounds. This is your rent, your transport. This is the money you have to live off while at university. Some of it is a parental contribution, a hidden parental contribution, but this is the lump sum that you get to live off while you're a student.
What about tuition fees?
Tuition fees, that's different because you're going to get those automatically as long as you're taking them once you go to the university. So this is the deadline of the financial form you need to fill in for student finance for students who are living in England. Even if you are going to university in Wales and you live in England, this is the deadline for you.
And that's the living loan.
Or resident, I should say, more technically, resident in England.
The next deadline reminder, Martin, you have is for Tesco club card holders.
Yeah, so look, Tesco, on the 31st of May, £15 million of Tesco club card vouchers go, because they only last 2 years and there's £15 million worth in store. So go online and check, or on your app, and check whether you have any of these vouchers. It'll tell you if you've got unused vouchers. Worth noting, on the 14th of June, currently you can trade in a £5 voucher for 3 times the value, 15 quid's worth of rewards on things like Pizza Express or Legoland. From the 14th of June, it's going to double. But if you trade them in now, then they last. Once you trade them in, it's valid for a year. It's normally 6 months. And I've got a trick for you. If you're saying, I don't know what I want to do with them now, here's a trick how you can extend the life of your vouchers.
Right.
So say you've got a £10 voucher.
Yep.
Go online.
Is it 2 10-inch pizzas or one 15-inch pizza?
Nothing to do with pizzas. You've got a £10 voucher. You go online, you log in, you spend 50p on, say, on a restaurant voucher of your £10.
Yeah. So
you now got £3, £1.50 of restaurant voucher, because 50p becomes £1.50. For the rest of the £9.50, they reissue and it lasts another 2 years. So if you spend just a little bit of the voucher, the rest of it is reissued and it lasts another 2 years. But otherwise, they become invalid if you've got those older vouchers on the 31st of May. So you've got a 2-week warning on that one.
And your final deadline reminder is on pension credit.
So we're going to the theme of benefits, and this is the really important one. We'll be doing more on this. I'll be running you through all the benefits you're missing out of at around 7:30. So look, pension credit is a top-up your income benefit to those on the state pension. Now, my rule of thumb to check is if you're a single pensioner with income under £220 a week, you're a pensioner couple with income under £320 a week, get onto the pension credit calculator or call them up to find out if you're entitled. I'm not saying you are entitled. I'm saying that's when it's worth checking to see if you're entitled. But if you claim by Friday and you are eligible, and there are 1 million pensioners eligible who aren't claiming, then you get the £301 cost of living payment that's being paid at the moment on top of pension credit, and it's a gateway benefit. So it's a really big, hard deadline. If you're eligible for pension credit and you're missing out, you need to check now, today or tomorrow or Friday at the latest, because if you are eligible, then you get that extra £301.
And how many people did you say are missing?
Up to 1 million people.
And
up to 1 million eligible
What's the
pensioners.
reason for that, do you think?
There are loads of reasons. Ignorance, people don't know about it. To be fair, the government are trying to push people to claim. I mean, it's really interesting. Some people don't claim because they think, I'm only going to get 50p. Even if you only got 50p pension credit a year, you'd think trivial. Well, you're then eligible for the £900 cost of living payment, of which the £301 is the first pound. If you're over 75, you're eligible for a free TV licence. You might be eligible for council tax benefit, housing benefit, help with your help with your dental and optical costs. It is a gateway to so many more entitlements that you have to understand. Even if pension credit itself is trivial, everything it opens the door to is massive. Please check before Friday. And if you know someone who's of state pension age on a low income, a polite little word to them that just says, do you get pension credit? Because you might be eligible. I heard it talked about on the telly, and you have to check quickly. Let us, together, as a nation, work to try and get those million pensioners on the lowest incomes who are missing out to claim what they've paid into the system for years to get that they are entitled to.
And millions of people across the UK are missing out on a share of £19 billion in unclaimed benefits. That's according to figures from the think tank Policy in Practice. So, Martin, let's start with universal credit. 1.25 million people missing out on an average of around £9,600 a year. Who should be checking if they're entitled to these benefits?
OK, so universal credit is the catch-all benefit for people of working age to help with living and housing. Now, the crucial thing to understand here is this is not just for people out of work. 41% of universal credit applicants, people who get universal credit, are in work. So, first, if you've got a low income, whether you're working or not, if you've got a low income, you will want to check this out. But you could be income stretching up to £40,000 a year of family income if you've got children and you're paying for childcare and you're paying for rent, you could still be entitled to universal credit. So that's my rule of thumb. Family income below 40 grand, get yourself on an online benefits calculator. It'll take about 10 minutes. Put your details in and see if you're entitled to this. And even if you checked a year ago, because the thresholds went up in April, there are a few people, not too many, but a few people who are now eligible who weren't eligible before.
Meanwhile, 850,000 households are missing out on an average of £3,500 a year in pension credit, and there's a deadline looming.
There's a big deadline on this one, as we discussed earlier. So pension credit is an income top-up and a gateway benefit. It both gives you income and it means you're entitled to lots of other benefits. And one of those is the cost of living payments. Now, there's one of £301 being made at the moment. And if you get pension credit by this Friday, then you get that £301 as well as your pension credit. So who's missing out? This is my rule of thumb. If you're a single pensioner with income below £220 a week, or a pensioner couple, both of state pension age, with income below £320 a week, then check out if you're due pension credit. I'm not saying you will be due it. I'm saying it is worth you seeing if you are due it. That's total income from all sources. So you can use the gov.uk's pension credit calculator, or you can call up the pension credit helpline to see if you're eligible. And just to show how important this is, there are 250,000 pensioners missing out on another £5 grand a year in housing benefit. Because with universal credit, while housing benefit is automatic, with pension credit, you have to apply. Now, you can do it when you're applying for pension credit the first time, or if you already get pension credit and you're struggling with your rent, then apply at your local council for housing benefit as well.
On to council tax support. 3 million people missing out on support that could get them more than £1,000 a year. How can you help them? This
one is a big one. Now, each council does it differently. Some councils, you won't pay any council tax at all. Who may be missing out? Well, if you're on means-tested benefits, we've just talked about them. Universal credit, pension credit. The big point here, you must apply for this separately to your universal credit and pension credit application, and people don't know it's available. They don't know they need to apply. That's why 3 million are missing out. You apply via your local council. If you're on universal credit, pension credit or other means-tested benefits, then you might want to speak to your council to see if you're one of those 3 million people who could be getting this help and aren't.
500,000 people missing out on
It's staggering, this, isn't it? Just staggering them.
£4,000 a year in carer's allowance. So if someone is caring for somebody else, how do you qualify for extra help?
So you've got to be caring over 35 hours a week, unpaid. Now, caring could just, you know, cooking, cleaning, helping somebody dress, all of these, taking them out when they need to go out, all of these help. Now, the person you're caring for must be someone who gets attendance allowance or sometimes personal independence payments or disability living allowance. You must earn under around 140 quid a week after tax or be on a low state pension. So quite difficult there. These are the unpaid support staff of our country, and we need to support them. This isn't the biggest payment in the world, but it will help. If you get under 35 hours a week, check out Carers Credit. You don't get any money, but you might get national insurance credits that will help you towards your state pension when you're older.
Finally, also support for your water bill with the help of water social tariffs. But 5.7 million households are missing out on an average £160 a year.
The biggest one of all being missed out, the least known one. So let's just have a look at this. Every water company has to have its own social tariff. Now, this is for people on lower incomes. Only 2 in 10 people who are eligible for this are claiming this right now. So what you need to do, if you're on a lower income and you're struggling to pay your water bill, or even if you're not, if you're just on a lower income, go onto your firm's website and search social tariffs. If you're not online, call up the firm and see if there's any help. And there's more help too if you're on a water meter. The Water Sure scheme for those on benefits, if you have medical need, which means you need to use more water, or you've got 3+ school-age children, that's an extra help that you get as well as this or separately to this. But you can just see, I'm just the tip of the iceberg. The most important thing I'd do if I were you is get yourself onto an online benefits calculator to see the help that's available. Millions of people missing out on so much vital support in the middle of a cost of living crisis.
Martin, thank you very much indeed. And no doubt, all of that information is going to prompt questions from viewers. You can get in touch. Twitter, Facebook, email. Martin, of course, answering as many of these as he can before the end of the show.